The Atelier series has come a long way. Not that many years ago, it was just a little niche RPG series about mixing ingredients and adorable female protagonists. For the franchise's 25th anniversary, Gus decided to remake the original game that started it all, the one that never left Japan. A complete revamp while also keeping it very faithful to the old PS1 classic. Here is my review of Atelier Marie Remake for the Nintendo Switch. The story of this game takes place in a world where heroes and knights fight epic battles against monsters, go on journeys, and keep the world safe. But that is not the story this game tells. This story is about Marie, a good-for-nothing slacker at a magical academy at risk of failing and never having her life mean anything. She is forcibly granted an atelier in town to be used as a shop and develop her skills in an attempt to keep her from failing. The plot then continues as Marie meets various people to adventure with as she creates items for the townspeople and lives her life as a good-for-nothing trying to better herself and at least manage to graduate. And this really embodies the original theme of the Atelier series. It was never about these big and epic RPG battles that you'd see in games like Final Fantasy. Atelier was always about having a cozy and peaceful life, accidentally freezing your shop and being cheered up with ice cream. When it comes to gameplay, this is a turn-based RPG with item mixing elements thrown in. First of all, let's talk about what's new in this remake, and we'll directly compare it to the original game that never came to the West. The original was very basic. You couldn't wander around towns or dungeons freely. It was almost all just menus with occasional isometric exploration in the town shops. But in the remake, you have a fully 3D town hub, dungeons to explore with harvesting points and enemies roaming around, and combat is enhanced with auto battle, a speed toggle, all in a chibi art style reminiscent of Atelier Rorona's Nintendo 3DS port. But it's not all enhanced. In fact, this is a very faithful remake, bringing back a lot of the old mechanics of the original title. From the ending requirements to the fact that you have to pay party members regularly with money to come and help you fight enemies. In fact, it was so faithful that buying the DLC pass for this remake will get you the entire original game in full English as Atelier Marie Plus, toggleable on the title screen. And this is something all developers really need to capitalize on when doing remakes. Redo the entire game, but also offer the original so gamers can have the modernized and original experiences all in one package. Now, I'm not crazy about it being only available via DLC. It should have just been bundled in with the game, but it's still a smart decision to have it available. And before really diving in, time limits. Yes, Atelier Marie has time limitations. Everything you do in the game uses up days, from fighting enemies and moving to dungeons, to harvesting points and performing alchemy. You've only got 5 years to craft an item of sufficient quality to pass graduation. But for those worried about time limits, don't worry. When you start a new game, you have an option to do the normal mode, where the game ends after the 5 years, or an unlimited mode, where you continue past the 5-year point to finish the prerequisites for your ending and activate it at your own leisure. As far as main progression goes, it really is a daily grind sort of game. You wake up in the Atelier and there are various things to do. You can buy from the academy and weapon shops in town, recruit various characters to be party members, take on missions, and venture out in the world to do those missions or just explore dungeons to gain materials. There will be story events that pop up in all of these places, but once you get into a flow, it just goes. And a lot of this is what really feels like the other Atelier games. Your town is a hub of facilities and the world is a small collection of dungeons that slowly unlock as you progress. But if you're just getting into a daily grind, what's the point of your journey? You have these little main story missions to do, but to call them missions or quests might be too complimentary. You get tasks from your professor to complete, but they're really just gaining skills, like adventuring with different people, raise your reputation to X value. It's nothing specific like in other games asking you to make a certain item of certain quality. You don't even get story events when you complete them, just little animations of the new tasks showing up. And speaking of basic, alchemy and combat are the two staples of the series, and they're both very simplified here compared to the more modern games. Combining items in Marie is simply that. You have the items needed to make a bomb and just throw them in. The bomb comes out at a predetermined quality and that's it. No grid puzzles, no added attributes or quality rating for materials or alchemy skills. Granted, you do use up MP and raise fatigue when you do a lot of alchemy, which can lead Marie to become tired, but it's very simplistic. The same goes for combat, which is a basic turn-based mechanic. You have a basic attack, skills to use with MP, and can use items you create and take with you. You go, the enemies go, and you keep going until you win. Auto battle and speed options can enhance things a bit, but it's a really simple turn-based system. And now we get back to the time limit aspect, something that the Atelier series used for a long time. Everything you do in this game uses up your valuable days. You want to grind levels because you're getting good experience? That wastes valuable time. Or not. I'll put this into perspective for you. I spent a lot of my time going out of the way to level grind over and over when good experience happened, especially when the tower became available. And I still managed to clear everything I needed for the normal ending in less than 2 years of in-game time. Even after getting the requirements done for not only the legend but hidden teacher ending with the famed Philosopher's Stone, I still managed to have Marie sleep through an entire year of in-game time just to get my ending to trigger. There might as well not even be a time limit because you have so much more time than you need, even for the more elaborate endings. Though I will give you a word of warning, they did not change the weird requirements for this game's 7 endings. A few of them still require you to be under level 50, so even if you've got that perfect Philosopher's Stone for the teacher ending, being level 50 will still push you towards the canonical legend ending and block out the one you wanted. Now thankfully, as we get into content and length, it won't take much to replay the game on New Game Plus to get that desired ending. Not only does New Game Plus let you carry over equipment and a lot of your item progression, but this game is criminally short on runtime. I had all the prerequisites done for the normal ending after playing for less than 5 hours, and I was a little under 8 hours by the time I'd made the Philosopher's Stone, maxed out reputation and knowledge, and got to the 5-year mark to get my first ending. Granted, there are nowhere near as many character events that you get as you progress the game as newer games, but I'm a bit sad that this is only a 5 to 8 hour game. Next up is presentation. This game's chibi style looks absolutely adorable. The graphics are well done with there being detail on the models and environments, but what I don't like here is the weird blur on draw distance. The camera isn't behind you, but everything not directly around Marie has this distracting blur to it as you move around. You can zoom out to make it not as jarring, but it's really weird. And with performance, everything's good. While this game does have the returning quality versus performance graphical settings, you don't really need performance mode. It doesn't lower the graphics that much, and performance is good as is. I found occasional frame dips under 30 FPS in handheld mode only during some combat animations. And that brings us to battery life. The Atelier Marie Remake gives the original and light models a range of 3 to 4.5 hours, while the V2 and OLED models get 5.5 to 6.5 hours. In conclusion, Atelier Marie has come to the West for the first time in a package that just screams cute and adorable. Now on the downside, the game has a weird blur thing going on with its design and is criminally short with how fun the flow can be to get into. But regardless, it's got everything a remake should be. Faithful to the original while adding in modern improvements like explorable environments, auto battle, and a fully fledged port of the original to play in English. It's unfortunate that said original is locked to a DLC pass, but this is a great and simple little adventure for Atelier fans to experience the franchise's origin. Reviews to Go rates Atelier Marie Remake for the Nintendo Switch an 8 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.